Here we go. All right. Well, good morning and welcome to our Step Up Academy Believe and Succeeds group Focus Forward training, our Saturday morning training from 9 a.m. to 9:45 Eastern Standard Time. Glad to have Katrina Ellis on the line because she's in Central Standard Time. So this 8 o'clock in the morning for her, 8 to 8:45. And so this is the training where we actually get an opportunity to go over a few things, kind of answer some questions, and also give nuts and bolts of what our business is about. These are things that we kind of may not have an opportunity to go in depth in at on our team calls. This is also training that maybe we learn either at when we go to convention, when we go to Super Saturdays, when we go to other trainings as well. We have a train the trainer coming up next weekend with director Janice Parker. And so, it's March. Oh, next weekend we're going to be in Baltimore. I'm sorry. Next weekend we'll be in Baltimore. At the end of March, we'll be in Train the Trainer with Janice Parker. So we're looking forward to going to Baltimore with our corporate offices. And if you haven't registered yet, it's not too late. They open up a few additional spaces. So you can still go. It's only $99 to register. And if you want to go, just definitely contact someone. Contact someone and say, hey, do you need a roommate? Or I can come, or there's more than one way to skin a cat. One year for convention, a gentleman actually drove to convention and just stayed in his van. And he did what he had to do to get to convention. He knew that he needed to get to convention. And so because he had made those sacrifices, other people offered him accommodations and that kind of stuff. So he was okay. It turned out okay. But it was because he made the step, because he said, look, I got to be here and I've got to do what I need to do. And so it definitely benefited him. So if you could get there, if you're listening to this training now, if you're listening to it later, because I know a lot of people kind of access the replay, get to our regional convention this next weekend in Baltimore, Maryland. If you got to drive, you got to take a flight, you got to take a train, even if you got to take the bus, because I know the bus goes there as well. Just get there. And I guarantee you everything else will work itself out. Just get there and let us know that you're trying to get there. And we'll work it out, because it's so important that you're there and you plugged in and you get the information that you need. So today we're talking about our blitz. Yay! Our blitz. What and why is a blitz? Well, I'm going to ask my husband, Nick Brown, who's the sports enthusiast, to actually tell us what a blitz is in football. I know Michelle McDaniel is also a sports enthusiast, and she probably knows exactly what a blitz play is. But Nick Brown, would you unmute your line and let us know what a blitz is in football? When does the call? When is it a play, or is it a certain period of time? What is a blitz for a football team?
Well, good morning, everybody. In terms of football, a blitz is normally called from the defensive side of the ball when they going all out and they're trying to stop the offense. So they have everybody. So there's 11 players on the team, and normally the offensive team only has about 6 or 7 guys who are up front blocking. So when the defense calls an all-out blitz, that's all 11 men rushing the offensive team so that they can shut them down. So in the words of us, when we call the blitz, we're talking about all-out massive action for a certain period of time. It could be 30 days, it could be 60 days, it could be 90 days. In most cases, we do 90-day blitz. So that's what a blitz is, all out massive action by the entire team. Back over to you, Ben. Okay. All right. So Actually, we're probably going to have a blitz that's going to come up right after the Baltimore event. I know a couple of the leaders that we follow are talking about doing what's called a spring blitz. So it'll probably start March, April, May. So definitely want everybody to get ready for that. And one of the key things that we do for blitz is that we have a calendar. So I know if you don't already have a 2020 calendar, highly recommend that you go and get one. I think Anna's probably going to talk about that a little bit later as well. But definitely I'm looking forward to the team getting together to have an all-out massive blitz running for 90 days. All right, back over to you, Ann.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Nick Brown. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now that you know what a blitz is, now we're going to tell you why we have a blitz. The reasons why we have a blitz, and this is, I learned this a long time ago, but I've always, since I've been in this industry, people have always called blitzes. Our leaders have called blitzers, and that's when we just get in massive action, and that's when we compete, we actually just do what we got to do, just go out, and that's when a lot of people get very creative in terms of achieving their goals. However, it wasn't until I went to Eric Worre's class in Las Vegas where he talked about, and you can see this training online. You can go to Eric Worre's training online, talking about how to get momentum in 90 days. And he talks about just compressing action, all your action into 90 days. And what he describes, he says, what you do in that 90-day period can change your business for up to 5 to 10 years. And he went back to some of the people that he recruited in his first 90 days that are now still a part of his business and have changed his business tremendously in the last 5 or 10 years. So the blitz is not just for right now. It's not just what we're doing right now. It's where you're laying the foundation and you're putting things in place. Good morning, Angela. You're putting things in place that can that can propel you forward. So there's this massive action, this focus can really propel you if done correctly, if focused, can propel you through the next couple of years. So that's one of the reasons why you want to do a blitz. And you don't have to be a part of a team. You can call your own blitz for you and your team. If you've got a goal, you can say, okay, we're about to blitz and make this happen. And it's just focused activity, but we're going to do it as a team. Right now, we're in pre-launch. Now, the actual blitz is going to start March 1st. Pre-launch is an opportunity to get things in place. We've got 8 days where we can get things in place. Number one, we want to make sure that we get a calendar. If you don't have a calendar, and it's not just a calendar, let me just show you the difference. There's a difference between a calendar and a planner. A calendar really just shows you dates on a page, but a planner actually shows you what it is that you're planning on doing. So a calendar, let me show you a planner that I actually just ordered, and you can get this off of you can get it from Office Depot. You can get it from Staples. I haven't found one like this at Walmart. You probably can get it on Walmart online. I haven't found one like this at Target, but you can probably. I like At a Glance series, but there are other manufacturers out there. This morning I found one online called Brown's Calendar Planner, something like this. I like a 24-hour planner. Why is that? Most planners that you get stop about 7 or 8 p.m. in the evening. But most of you know that that's when our day starts. So I like to look at my entire day. If you look at this planner, it starts at, I don't know if you can see it, but it starts at 12 a.m. and then it goes until 11 p.m. So why is that significant? Well, I can shade out when I'm going to be at work. So that automatically lets me know that I'm not available. I know that I have a teammate who's a nurse, and she goes to work like at 4 o'clock in the morning. So when I did a presentation for her, well, she goes to work, she has to be at work at 5. When I did a presentation for her, it was like at 4 o'clock in the morning. And she asked me, would I be willing to do that? And I said, sure. And so I woke up early and I did that presentation. But because I had it on my calendar, on my planner, I could remember, I got to make sure I do that presentation at 4 o'clock in the morning. Also, I can kind of write in any projects or any things that I need to do during the day, especially if I'm at my job and I need to call the bank, or I need to do, I don't know, any meeting, I need to make sure I do run a report or something like that. I can put that in my planner. If you notice that I have this particular planner has the times on one side, then it has a space for notes. That's significant because let's say that I have to meet with someone. Let's say I have to meet with someone at 6 o'clock. Well, in the notes, I can write down maybe where we're meeting, but I might write that person's name and telephone number, or meet Janice at Starbucks and put their name and telephone number in the notes, or which Starbucks we're meeting at. And so that way I can keep track of things. It's all on one page. Let's say I know right now I'm doing those 9 o'clock presentations where I'm going to shade out 9 o'clock. What that does is that reminds me that I need to be in place. I need to be at home, or I need to be someplace where I can do that presentation. I can access Zoom at 9 o'clock. Now, the way I do it now is when I'm at home, I access Zoom on my laptop and I access Facebook on my computer. If I'm out and on my phone, if I'm out and about, then I might have, especially if I'm with Nick, I may say, hey, Nick, you log on to Zoom and I'll log on to Facebook Live, so that we have two things going at once. But that reminds me that I need to plan that if I'm going to be out and about, I need to think about that. And I don't want to wait until the last minute. Another thing, and you guys have probably seen that we may have assumed that we'd have Wi-Fi and we'd have the internet, and we get somewhere and we don't. During those times, we actually had a wireless router that we used, but now, or a hotspot that we use. But we've given up that service because it was an additional fee, and we found that more people have more places have Wi-Fi now, so we don't necessarily need that to get online. So just wanted to know the first thing that you want to do it this weekend. Go out and get a planner. Now, this particular planner cost me $50 on Amazon. It will be delivered on Monday. But they're less expensive planners. However, you just want to make sure it's 24 hours, and it gives you an opportunity to track every hour of your day or every half hour. There's some that comes in half-hour increments as well. And if you want to get that one, get that one. But you want this kind of planner as opposed to just a regular calendar. A regular calendar is not going to serve you well during this pre-launch and during this blitz and during your business this year in your business, because you want to see where your pockets of time are, because most of us are busy. And so let's say that you have to go to a funeral. You can put that on your planner. If you got to go to work, you got to go to a funeral. Let's say that you got to do something with your children. You can put that on your planner. Now you get to see where your pockets of information, where your pockets are. And so you might not be able to participate on a 9 o'clock presentation, but you may be able to actually tell your guests to get on the 9 o'clock presentation, but you might not be able to follow up with them until 10 o'clock when you're available. But that way you kind of, know what you have going on, and it makes you look so much more professional, and it makes you a lot more confident, because now you're honoring your time, you're honoring your agreements, you're actually scheduling things, and which is what life is all about. You know, if you got to go to a cookout, you can tell someone and show them on your calendar, oh yeah, from 3 to 5, I'm going to be at this cookout. I can call you at 6. You know, that's professionalism. Then you trying to talk to somebody at a cookout, and they hearing all the noise and stuff behind you. Most people will say, well, why don't you give me a call when you have some time available? So it's so important that we all present a professional image. You know, if you know that you're going out for drinks with your girlfriends, you don't want to call a prospect during that time. You can say, hey, you know what? I'm meeting some friends after work. Why don't I give you a call maybe around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock when I can focus, or when I really want to, so that you don't hear that background noise. I don't know about you guys, but it's frustrating to me to try to listen to someone when there's a lot of background noise in the background, and you're trying to hear what they're saying, but the background noise is distracting. I know it's happened on our calls, and it's even happened with me where maybe I didn't think the noise was as distracting as it is, and I know how it is. And so that's not professional, and I beat myself up about that. That is totally not professional. And so if I know, for instance, our team call is every Wednesday at 6:25, it's my responsibility to be in a space where, I can have a clean call. And so it's not acceptable to kind of be out and about and be other places. It's my responsibility to plan accordingly. And so when you're talking to your prospects, especially if you have an appointment, that planner can help you make it so that, okay, yes, I have to be at a meeting at this particular time. Is there any way that I could call you at this time? Or is there any way we could do this? And so a planner absolutely is just a part of business and a part of professionalism. The next thing that you want to do with your pre-launch is make your list. Now, I don't know if you had an opportunity to listen to Janice Parker's training, and she talked about making a list. And she talked about not only just making a list, but making the list, the ultimate list. Do not judge, put everybody on the list. I think I've even said, well, kind of start your list and then rate your list and that kind of stuff. But it makes sense to just put everybody on your list, no matter what. Don't judge, just put people down on your list. And then later on, you'll decide if it's a good time to call. Later on, you'll decide, whether you want them in your business or not. But no matter what, put them on your list. And guess what? You'll find that the same people are probably on multiple people's lists. But you want to put them on your list. Why? Because that gives you a huge list. And I was thinking that maybe we should have a list that you use in and I forgot to put this on, that you use, that have a list that we would that you use via Excel. But I've realized everybody doesn't know Excel. Juliet St. John, who actually became a millionaire with our company with an 8th grade education, never graduated from high school, came up with this tracker, which is on her website. And you know what? I could go there now. It's on her website, and it is a very easy way to track the people on your list. Now, personally, I will have to go back to this. I was using it at one time, and I must admit it was very useful because I knew exactly where people were in the process. I just went to surgechampions.com. Either take a picture of this page or write down the website address, surgechampions.com, which is our director's website. And then I go over to resources, and you could go to downloads. When you go to downloads, there are several different downloads. And I encourage you to look at the various downloads. But what I did was, and this memory jogger is also good, but what I did was I downloaded the prospect tracking sheet. The prospect tracking sheet is this particular sheet. Now, let me what you want to do is, hopefully you can see this. As you can see, you put in the name and the phone number, and then you put in their email address. And then you see whether they actually did a video. Now, what I start with is I cross this out and I put a survey, because when I call the person or I contact the person, I'm starting with a survey. Now, why am I starting with a survey? Because when I start with a survey, now I know exactly what to tell. It gives me some information, especially if I don't know the person. It gives me some information to speak with them about. You see, when you have a survey, and I've got a whole bunch printed out, I'm going to get some surveys today. When you have a survey, then you already know when they fill out the survey how many times a year they travel. Why is that important? Because if people don't travel, or if they don't want to travel, then you can put them on your email list, but this is probably not a strong prospect for you. But when you travel, do you travel for business, pleasure, or both? I definitely talk to the people who travel for both. And then, do you book any of the following travel online? And you can actually get this along with this. If you haven't downloaded it before, here it is, the travel survey, and we also have the travel survey on our Facebook page as well. So what we can do is you can either call somebody and ask them these questions. Hey, do you have a chance to do a quick survey for me? And it gives you a wealth of information. Do they book hotels, rental car, cruises, all of that information? Would you be interested in having a personal concierge? Are you accumulating reward points? What are your top 3 destinations on your bucket list? I'm interested in travel and events involving, and you circle all that apply. Would you be open to earning an extra $1,000 a month, helping people find the best pricing on their vacations and travel? And so that is a loaded question. If someone says yes, then we definitely want to get back with them about the business. If they say no, that's okay. You definitely want to look at the information that they've provided. Now, what I do is and it is a little tedious, I take the surveys and I load that information in an Excel spreadsheet, their name, their email address, their date, and their phone number. If you don't have time to do that, you can get somebody, go to Fiverr, FIVER.com, and they have administrative people who will, if you give them the information, you can actually scan it, and they'll load your information in an Excel spreadsheet for you. You just go to Fiverr, FIVER.com, and there are so many different professionals that are listed on Fiverr that will do various services for you. So after you accumulate some surveys, if you don't feel like doing data entry, or you don't have a child or somebody that you can pay to do that, you can actually contact one of the freelance professionals on Fiverr, and they will put it into a database for you, an Excel spreadsheet for you, so that you can have. And the significance of that is that when you actually get started, when you actually have that database, now you're building a contact list. You're building your list of customers. You're building your database, and you know where they want to travel, where they would want to go. You know their preferences, which is so important as a business owner, to know your preferences of where your clients would want to go. So that is another very important part of this process. So with these surveys, one of the things that you might say is, I earn income by helping people travel and make money in travel. I'm conducting surveys to get an idea of the current market. If I gave you a few questions, would you take 5 minutes to answer them? That is the typical if I would you. If I gave you a few questions, would you take 5 minutes to answer them? And whether you can say this script, whether you're meeting the person face to face, or whether you're calling somebody up and just say, hey, I earn income by helping people travel and make money in travel. I'm conducting surveys to get an idea of the current market. If I gave you a few questions, would you take 5 minutes to answer them? Some people are going to tell you no. That's okay. But there are billions of people out there, and you're just trying to meet more people, and you're trying to collect data, collect information that you could use in your business, which is what a survey is. Now, once they do that survey and they answer that last question, you want to say, I see that you answered yes to the last question about making $1,000. I'd like to invite you to an event where you can get that information. Would a webinar or a conference call work best for you? And so let them say a webinar, a conference call. If they say, well, what is a webinar? Then you know probably a conference call might be better. Because if they don't know how to access a webinar, I'm not sure if you want to be training or teaching that. If you've got that kind of patience, definitely do so. But if not, then point them to a conference call. We have conference calls every night, Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. as well. And so, or for the presentation that I'm doing, it can you can also give them that number, and it can be a conference call. So after you do that, then you definitely want to do a 3-way call. And so after they listen to the conference call or the webinar, you want to ask them, what do they like best? And then, or just say, you don't even have to ask them. Just say, well, the next step is to allow you to speak with the person I am working with to get your questions answered. Hold on, let me get them on the line right now. That gets you off the hot seat. You don't have to answer any questions. Get with the person, get with your sponsor, get with your team leader, your team builder to get their questions answered. So after the presentation, if they start saying, well, oh, this sounds good, but I don't know. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. The next step is to allow you to speak with the person I'm working with to get your questions answered. Hold on. Let me get them on the line right now. Don't even allow them to say, oh, no, I can't talk right now. Just say, this is the next step. And the person that you get them on the line with is going to ask them, what did they like best? It's going to talk to them. It's going to probably, acknowledge them in some way. And they're going to say, they're going to speak well of you and say, some of the things that you've been doing well. And then they're going to say, well, how do you feel about moving forward? And they're going to either try to sign that person up or get them to the next event. So if they say, well, I'd like more information, just say, okay, great. Well, we're actually having online presentations. We're actually having a live event. Where are you located? If you're in the Maryland, D.C. area, we're actually having we're actually going to be in Baltimore this weekend. Would love for you to come out to be our guest. But let me find out when guests are invited. Let me find out when. And so you find out when the presentation is and get that to them, and they can meet you in Baltimore. You've got a guest in Baltimore. Or you can find out, just say, hey, on March 7th, we're actually doing a women's empowerment tea. Would love for you to be my special guest for that, and invite them to that. We're also going to be on the 14th. We're actually going to be going to a fun event, which is the escape room. But we're also going to be having travel parties throughout that. But no matter what, at 9 o'clock every night, you know that I'm doing the Zoom presentation and also the Facebook Live presentation on the Believe and Succeed group page. So you can always invite them to that if they're available to get online via Facebook or Zoom at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Any night of the week, they can actually see a presentation. Now, let me tell you how I'm doing those presentations. If we have a guest on, then I go through the presentation. If we don't have a guest on, then I end up talking a little bit to try to see if a guest gets on. I generally talk maybe about 5 to 7 minutes. And then if a guest doesn't get on, it turns into more of more of a commercial type thing. What do you want? What do you want to accomplish? And that kind of thing. And that's how that's how that goes. So if we have a guest on or team members on, I tend to do the presentation. If we don't have guests, then because we're on Facebook Live, I will just begin talking. I will give my story, begin talking, and and talking about the benefits of our business. So it all depends in terms of where we have what we have. So when you're looking on Facebook Live and it looks as if I did not do a presentation, it's because 9 times out of 10, like last night, we didn't have a guest, nor did we have any team members between me and Nick. So what I did was I just talked about the benefits of travel to incentivize people to get in touch with me. And 2 people have reached out and said, hey, I'm interested. So I need to follow up with them today. So it won't be wasted time. And when I do those things, those are also opportunities for you to copy the link and send them to your prospects. Because what I'm finding is Facebook gives us the most traction. Even though we didn't have any guests on the line, I've seen that probably about 40 people have seen that little bit. And so it definitely works. And so, and you're able to get momentum, and you can copy that link and send it to people. So, and especially if you don't think people want a hard sell. A lot of people don't want you to just say, hey, join my business, join my team, join my business, join my team. This is an opportunity. If you listen to what I said last night, I'm calling out and looking for a particular person. That person that wants to work hard, that person that wants more, that person who is ready to create a different environment for themselves and for their families. And so those people that are connecting to their dreams and their visions for their lives, that's who I was speaking to last night. So if you want to send that to somebody, definitely do so. So just so you understand the method in my madness, that if we don't have anyone on, then the presentation will be more towards benefits than an actual presentation. And so that's 9:00 every night. And we're definitely going to be doing that through the Blitz. And I'd like some more people to step up on the team. I'd like you to step up in your edification and actually introducing me on the call. I'd like you to step up in your doing the presentation. Is basically reading the presentation. And as you step up, it will inspire other people to step up, because people will say, man, if she can do it, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. So I'm encouraging you to, I don't want to call anybody out, but I'm encouraging you to practice that PowerPoint presentation and just step up and say, hey, I'd like to do a presentation tonight at 9:00. And I'll be there. I'll edify you. You can't mess up anything that we can't clean up. And it's all good. If you want to get on and just read the presentation, that is perfectly acceptable. And so I'm encouraging you to step into leadership, step into who you want to be, step into that next level, and step out of being just a participant, and definitely step into leadership on our team. And now learning how to do a presentation, learning how to conduct a full presentation, learning how to close, learning how to edify, learning how to pique interest, and really learning this craft and learning the business. I encourage you to do that. However, it's got to be at your comfort level. So let's work on that. If that's something that you want to do, let me tell you, the people who can present always make the most money. Let me tell you, people who present always make the most money. So if you can sit down with somebody and do a one-on-one, if you can sit down, the better you get at presenting, the better you get at edifying, the better you get at this process, the more money you're going to make. One of the reasons why I started these presentations is that we can't continue to send our prospects to other people. If we continue to send our prospects to Janice Parker's presentations, then they're going to think that, oh, Janice Parker is our director. Our director, Juliet St. John, does not do presentations. She basically uses Scott Tomer's presentation. But if you notice, each leader has their presentations, and we can use those presentations, but we want to have our own as well. Why? So that we can edify ourselves and edify our team, so that we can bring people into our team and our culture and what it is that we do. If we consistently send people other places, then that's what they'll know. And so you want people to join your team and join you. So one of the things you want to do is be able to do presentations or make sure you're edifying your leadership. So they'll say, oh, wow, I'm a part of this particular team and I'm working with I'm working with this particular person. You know, I was sponsored by Angela, who was sponsored by Vincent Payton, and our director is Juliet St. John. You know, so that they know the lineage and know who their team is. So if they hear Juliet St. John, they know that, oh, that's my director. If they hear Vincent Payton, oh man, that's my regional builder. They hear Nick and Ann Brown, oh wow, those are my regional builders. If they hear Michelle McDaniel, oh man, those are my team builders. I need to make sure I'm clapping and I'm giving that team spirit. And I'm supporting because this is our team. And so I just find that if we don't know, we don't support. And sometimes we don't support anyway. Sometimes we can call out Vincent Payton, and it's amazing that our team doesn't participate. Then I don't know if it's because they don't know who he is or that they're just gritting on people or just not participating. Or if someone says, hey, Ann and Nick Brown, it's embarrassing. You know, it's amazing and embarrassing that it's our team and we don't participate or we're not elevating ourselves. We're not edifying ourselves. If someone says Juliet St. John, it's amazing. We're not there clapping and standing and participating and edifying her as our director. You know, so it's a part, something that we have to change as a culture, something that we have to speak to. Because when Malcolm Alexander hits that stage, his entire team stands up and cheers and says, wow, that's my director. When Von Nickelberry hits that stage, his entire team stands up, wow, Von Nickelberry is my director. But we as a culture, we have to instill that in our team, especially when we're going to various events. It's very important to give that respect. Even if it's not your director, when I go to Lorenzo Lassen's meeting, when he's introduced, I stand up because number one, he deserves the respect because he's a director, and number two, it's his meeting, and number three, I know the guests that helps the environment in the room. And we're going to have some training on that. When you're at a travel party and the person who's speaking stands up, you should be clapping. You should be like, wow, this person is here, because the guests are going to feed off your energy. And so when we're doing a launch call, you have to be excited. When you're on the team call, be excited. And practice that excitement. Do you think we feel like standing up all the time? Absolutely not. Do you think we feel like clapping all the time? No. Do you think we feel like having that excitement? Absolutely not. But that's something we know we've got to have, that energy, that excitement in the room, because people feed off that. So when you're doing a presentation, when you're doing a travel party, when you're doing a launch call, make sure you're doing whatever you can. People are going to feed off of your excitement. So you got to be excited. So this three-way call, you got to be excited. You can't say, oh, well, the next step is to allow you to speak with the person. You got to say, wow, I'm glad you had an opportunity to see that call, to hear that call or see that presentation. The next step is to allow you to speak with the person I'm working with to get your questions answered. Hold on 1 minute. Let me get them on the line. You got to be excited and you got to be moving and shaking. And then that way, when you hold on, you got to have that person and just say, hey, Mary just saw the presentation. She has some questions. I'm going to get you on the line, and then I'm going to edify you. And when they get on the line, you say, Mary, oh my goodness, this is Vincent Payton. He loves to have fun, loves making money, has helped a lot of people, and truly knows 100% of the facts. I got him on the line with you to answer your questions. Vincent, this is Mary. Boom, and shut up. And let Vincent take it from there. If you're edifying me, Ann, this is Ann. Mary, this is Ann Brown. She loves to have fun, loves to help people, made a lot of money in this business, and knows 100% of the facts. And this is Mary. Boom. And shut up. That's the three-way call. And then once you do that, that person will take it from there. But what you're doing is you showing them that, oh my gosh, I've got somebody to help me. I don't have to learn all this stuff, because they're thinking about what you're doing. And right now they're saying, wait a minute, all they did was they took a survey, then they got me on a presentation, and now I'm talking to this person. They didn't answer no questions. They didn't do a presentation. They didn't do any of that stuff. I can do this. See, when we try to do too much, it confuses our prospect and makes them think that they have to do that. And sometimes that's why we don't get the traction that we want or need, because it throws people off and think, oh, wait a minute, I can't do all of this. I can't answer all the questions. I can't host the travel parties and do the presentation and do all that stuff too. In the back of their minds, they say, I can't do that. But when you get a survey and you get them on a presentation, and then you introduce them to somebody else that answers their questions, they're like, wait a minute, I can do a survey. I can send somebody the link to get on a presentation. Wait a minute, I can introduce them to somebody to get their questions answered. Wait a minute, I can do this. And so it's so important that we follow the system. And following the system is piquing interest, exposing, and three-way calls. Piquing interest, exposing, and three-way calls. And so it really just makes sense. It really does. And even if you sit down with someone and there's not the internet, because I know you're saying, Ann, you just told us not to do, it sounds like you're contradicting yourself. You just said learn the presentation, but don't do the presentation. No, I'm just saying learn the presentation, because guess what? You might go to Starbucks and their internet is out, and you still want to know how to do a presentation. You like, okay, well, cool, the internet is out, I can't get you on this link. You don't want to say, oh, and this is one of the things Director Malcolm Alexander talked about yesterday on the call. If you got the person right there, you don't want to send them someplace else. Oh, go watch the presentation, I'll call you later. While they're right there, try to get as much as you can in that moment. So get them on a presentation. Go ahead, if you gotta go through the PowerPoint slides, read the presentation, and then get them on a three-way call. Get them through the system as much as possible right there, because these days and times, once they leave, it's hard to catch up with them again. It's very difficult. Sometimes when you get someone on the phone, you want to try to get them through an exposure, and that's why it's good to do the survey, because that's a form of an exposure. And it's an easy, acceptable form of an exposure. And now you know whether they want to make $1,000 or not. And if they don't, just put them on your list. It's a win-win for you, because either you're going to get a client or you're going to get a partner or both. So either way, you get their information, and now you get an opportunity to put them on your list to market your trips to them or market our business to them, either way. And sometimes you might start out marketing your trips, and after they go on a trip with you, then they might want to be a business partner. Ask Vincent Payton about that. How many people went on a trip with him first, and then he turned those people into business partners? And so it works. So definitely begin doing those surveys. It's an opportunity for you to get the information that you need. So for right now, we're in pre-launch. It's all about surveys. We've got the 9 o'clock presentation. And it's all about, we're going to be doing launch calls. If you want to schedule a launch call for your person, I know Katrina Ellis has a launch call scheduled for tomorrow. The launch call, we actually talked about the launch call, what we should do for a launch call. And I actually posted those instructions, how to do a launch call on our Facebook page. So it's relatively easy to do. I encourage you to look at that and invite people to your launch call. Katrina, let's get together. I'll help you just confirm some of your guests today so that we have a successful launch call. But if you go to the file cabinet, hopefully you can see. Nick Brown, can you see my screen? Okay, if you go to the file cabinet, and here we go, right here, go to our Team Believe It Succeed page, go to the file page. Okay, that's what okay. Hold on, let me get this share. Sorry about that. Now, are you seeing the Facebook page? Okay, here we go. So go to the file cabinet here on our Team Believe and Succeed page. And now go to this file cabinet and then go right here where it says launch call instructions. If you open that up, and in Word, it's a Word document, it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to do a launch call successfully, everything that you should do. And definitely just go ahead and get that done. It gives you the script, everything that you should say and everything. And now you can invite, you have what you need to invite. You even have the system 30 minutes to an hour before, 10 minutes, get on the call and welcome your guests. So these are the instructions. And so you can follow those instructions to have a successful launch call. These are not my instructions. These instructions were developed by Dr. James and Marcia Pruitt, who are superstar directors in our company. I just find that actually utilizing our director's information also gives credibility, and it also it seems to, on our team, it seems to quiet some of the negativity and the skepticism. And so these instructions were from Dr. James and Marcia Pruitt. They actually send this out to their team. And this is what they do in terms of launch call. The launch call is only about 20 minutes. It's a quick call, quick exposure to kind of find out who's interested. So with that being said, it is now 9:50. I've gone over my time. I want to thank y'all for joining us today on this presentation. Let me see. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. And yes, I do mean you at the top. Did anybody have any issues, questions, comments, or concerns? All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all for joining us. And Nick and Vincent Payton, good luck on your travel party today. For your new prospect, and Katrina Jardog, I'm going to be contacting her about her launch call tomorrow. And so with that being said, hopefully you got some information. Let me hear your feedback. Did you guys get some information? Did you learn anything? Did you get any information that you could use? Anybody want to unmute their line? Give me some feedback.
And yeah, always a refresher for me, but yeah, it was some good information in this call.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Anybody else? Feedback, was this good? Great information? Got something that you could use?
Yeah, I did. I got more information, especially with the calendar. That's something I need to get as well.
Awesome. Yes, most of us are busy, and I find that when I have that calendar, when I have that planner, I'm a lot more productive. I started the year without it. I just ordered it. I got to get on track. Things are slipping through the cracks. So you're absolutely right. That planner makes such a big difference in my life. Did anybody else get any? And thank you, Katrina. Did anybody else, and I'm going to call you after this. Anybody get any information, anything that you could use? All right, y'all. Well, we're going to go ahead and end this call. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day. God bless. And I look forward to seeing you at the top, at the very top. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be the tip top. Make sure you share. I'm going to put the recording on our team page. Make sure you share it with your team and suggest that people watch it as well. Definitely, if nothing else, get that planner. And this actually explains what we're doing with the launch and the reason for the blitz. So we're going to take it step by step. We're going to do the launch right now, and then the blitz instructions will be coming out at a later date, probably next week. Talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.